Let's begin our session on Rumi with a poem from his Mathnawi. He says, "Come, come, whoever you are, a wanderer, worshipper, lover of living, it doesn't matter. Ours is not a caravan of despair. Come, come, even if you have broken your vows 1,000 times. Come, yet again, come, come." Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. I offer thanks to the Almighty Allah who has guided us on our journey and who is the source of every magnificent bounty in this earth. And Allah, God, is indeed the beneficent. He is the most merciful, and to Him belongs all praise, inshallah. Today, I would like to spend time on the importance of human being. What is a human being? Who is a human being? What is the purpose of a human being in this world? Why is a human being important? Why God has given importance to the human being? And I would like to spend time on how Rumi understands human being. So basically, according to Rumi, human being is a creature, is an ordinary creature created from water and soil. And we are consisted of flesh, bone, and blood. And Allah also refers to the creation of human being in His book many times. Even the first revelations of the Quran talks about the creation of human being. He says, "Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq, khalaqal insana min alaq." Read in the name of Allah who has created you from a consisting substance, from clinging substance, from clay. Or in other words, he said, "Inna mathala Isa inda Allahi ka mathali Adam, khalaqahu min turab, thumma qala lahu kun fayakun." The case of Jesus, the case of Isa, the case of Jesus, peace be upon him, is the example of Adam alayhi salam. And he was created from clay. He was created from dust. And ثُمَّ قَالَ لَهُ كُنْ فَيَكُونَ, Allah said, "Be," and he was. So basically, we as human beings are created from water, from soil, and we have flesh, we have bones, and we have blood. But this is not enough. A person, according to Rumi, is not simply an ordinary creature. It's not simply an ordinary creature created from water and soil and only solely consisting of flesh, bone, and blood. A person, a human being, is more than that. A human being is more than a material perspective. A human being, according to Rumi, is the heart of the universe. A human being, a simple human being, is at the heart of the universe. And this understanding of the centrality of the human being at the heart of the universe is at the center of Rumi's philosophy, is at the center of Rumi's worldview. And let's talk more about this. So Rumi not only regards a person as an earthly creature, as a material creature, but also sees a human being as a spiritual being. So there is, as a human being, we have a material perspective, we have a material aspect of us, and at the same time we have a spiritual dimension. We have a spiritual dimension, and both of them, both dimensions, both our material dimension and our spiritual dimension, they have an important role in our system, in our social system. So that's why he doesn't see people as if they are formed by separate parts, such as mind, soul, body, and brain. They are all interconnected. Mind is not totally separate from soul. Soul is not totally separate from body, and body is not totally separate from brain. They're all interconnected. They all have connections to each other, and that's why when we are talking about a human being, when we are talking about the essence of a human being, we actually have to emphasize on the interconnection between the mind, the soul, and the body. And that's why he regards them. He regards all parts of human being, mind, soul, body, as a whole, and he regards them as a system. And some of our dimensions are visible, and some of them are not visible. But he puts emphasis on the interconnection between all aspects, whether they are visible or not. So he says in his poetry, there is another soul in your soul, look for it. So there is a soul, there is your dimension, there is your spiritual dimension in your body. Look for it. Look for your soul. There is a treasury in the mount body. Look for that treasury. Actually, there is a treasury, there is a spiritual treasury hidden inside your body. Look for that treasury. Oh, mystic who goes on. Oh, mystic who is looking for deeper meaning in your life. If you're capable, if you are really onto this, then look for it, search for it, look for it. And where will be looking for it? Where will we look? Not outside. Don't look outside. Look what you're looking for in yourself. And he goes on. When you look at yourself, you are not neither water nor soil. You are not simply water or soil, but you are something else. But you are something else. You are away from the world of clay. You are more than the world of clay. You are on a special journey. You are on a blessed journey. And that's why he goes on. Your body is an irrigation trench. Your body is a tool. Your body is a way, is a vehicle for deeper meaning. And your soul, your spiritual dimension is eternal water. Your soul, your spiritual dimension, your internal meaning is the essence of your life. And he goes on. Whatever pearl you look for, whatever gold you look for, there is another gold, there is another pearl inside that pearl. Because all the atoms are saying, there is a treasure hidden me. So when you are in a spiritual journey, there are some levels. So when you discover one spiritual life, there's actually a deeper spiritual life, and there are some levels. And in the tariqah, in the way of attaining spiritual life, you are expected to fulfill each step, and you will not be able to fulfill every step in a small time. You need a special time to fulfill every step. So these are also known as 7 levels of being, 7 levels of nafs. So we have the first step of nafs ammara, and then it goes to nafs lawwama. When you fulfill the stage of nafs lawwama, you go to nafsi mulhima, and then nafsi mutma'inna, and then nafsi radhiya, mardiya, and kamila. These are all stages of 7 levels of being. And when you discover a pearl in your spiritual life, there's actually another pearl hidden inside that pearl. And Rumi says that. He says, whatever pearl you look for, there's actually another pearl. There is another deeper meaning hidden inside that pearl. And when you discover that pearl, actually there is another pearl that is inside that. And the progress continues up. So, how does Rumi see people? How does he see human beings? So Rumi describes humans as beams radiating from one light source. So there is one light, and the human beings are beams that radiate from one light source. Or he sees them as drops of the same ocean. Human beings in this earth are the same drops of the same oceans. Or he regards them as branches of the same tree. Some branches may be long, some branches may be short, but they are all from the same tree, and they come from the same source. And that's why every human being, every individual in this earth is an honorable entity, is an honorable creature. And that's why everyone, every individual, every human being has the same honor and respect in the eyes of Allah, in the eyes of God, regardless of their physical characteristics, regardless of their social economic conditions, regardless of their political condition. They deserve the honor and the respect of Allah in the eyes of God. And why is human being so honorable? Why is the human being is the most honorable entity in the eyes of Allah? Because there are so many verses that Allah, the God, has created man meticulously. He created man rigorously, and He blew His own soul into him. There are so many verses on that. So He says, الذي أحسن كل شيء خلقه وبدأ خلق الإنسان من طين. He has created everything perfectly, and afterwards He began the creation of man from clay. ثم جعل نسله من سلالة من ماء مهين. Then He made the continuation of man from dirty water. He made his perspective out of extract from a liquid, from a dirty liquid. And ثم سواه ونفخ فيه من روحه وجعل لكم السمع والأبصار والأفئدة. What did He do next? And then He blew His own soul. He blew from His own soul into him. And He gave وجعل لكم السمع والأبصار والأفئدة. And He made the sam'a, hearing. He gave the hearing to him. وجعل لكم السمع والأبصار. He gave the vision, the ability of seeing. And finally He gave والأفئدة. He gave the heart to him. قليلا ما تشكرون. But little of us recognize this gift. And so we were talking about why is a human being very honorable creature, entity in the eyes of Allah. Because Allah has created man meticulously, rigorously, and He blew from His own soul into him. And He continued to give His goods. He also dedicated the food and other useful things on earth for him. He dedicated food and shelter for him. And He said, وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ وَحَمَّلْنَاهُمْ فِي الْبَرِّ وَالْبَحْرِ وَرَزَقْنَاهُمْ مِنَ الطَّيِّبَاتِ. We have honored human being. We have honored the son of Adam, the human being, and وَحَمَّلْنَاهُمْ فِي الْبَرِّ وَالْبَحْرِ. We carried him on sea, and we carried him on land. And وَرَزَقْنَاهُمْ مِنَ الطَّيِّبَاتِ. We have provided many goods. We have provided many foods and shelter for him. And that's why in the eyes of Allah, according to Rumi, a human being, regardless of their physical appearance, regardless of their social characteristics, regardless of their ethnicity, is a very precious thing, is a very important in the eyes of Allah. And Rumi says, you are, as a human being, you are more precious than heaven and earth. You are more precious than heaven and earth. What can I say? You don't know your own worth. You don't recognize your value in the eyes of Allah. You think you are only made up of flesh, bone, and blood. Actually, you carry a part of God in yourself. You carry the soul in your body, and that's why you don't recognize your own worth. You don't recognize your own value, and that's why you are another version of the divine book. There are two revelations. There are the revelations of books. They are written down, and we read them. And there is another version of the divine book. These are the creation of Allah. A human being is another version of the divine book. A son is another verse of the God, another verse of Allah, and these are another versions of the divine book. So a human being, simple human being, is actually another version of the divine book, another verse of the Divine Book. That's why Rumi continues on. You are a mirror of the beauty of Allah that created the universe. A human being is a mirror of the beauty of the essence of Allah. And whatever exists in the world, it's not outside of you. So whatever you ask for, ask for it in yourself. Ask for it in yourself, and don't look outside. Look inside yourself. Look for that spiritual meaning. Look for the deeper meaning, and you will be able to find answer to your questions. So Rumi actually cares about people. He cares about human beings, and he regards them. He regards individuals as important beings, regardless of any labels attached to them in this world. Because in this world we have so many stereotypes. We have so many labels attached to different groups. We have so many labels attached to different religious groups. We have so many labels attached to different ethnicities. We have labels attached to genders. We say, we have labels attached to genders. We say, oh, women are not as smart as men. Or we have so many labels attached to some religious group. We say, Jews are greedy, or all Muslims are terrorists. Or we have labels attached to ethnicities. All Irish people are drunks. Or we say all blondes are unintelligent. And Rumi says, get rid of those attachments. Get rid of those labels. And he regards them. He regards all individuals as important and honorable individuals. And he says, oh you who's looking for mistakes, oh you who's looking for faults in everything, don't look down on anyone. Don't look down on anyone. Don't discriminate against anyone. Because Allah or God has a part of Him in everyone, regardless of their nationalities and religions. Allah has put His own soul into him, and that's why every individual, every human being is precious. And just because Allah has the soul in him, you have to respect on him and don't look down on anyone. And that's why he said, the people on earth are the mirrors of Allah. And that's why he continues, speaking different languages or having different ethnicities does not constitute a barrier or does not constitute a reason for disintegration among people. So the discrepancies, the differences among people in terms of ethnicity, in terms of social characteristics, in terms of political reasons, or instead of in terms of religious backgrounds, they are only differences on the surface value. And the essence of a human being is human dignity, and it brings people together. And he says, all people come from pre-eternity, and we share the same common feelings of aspiration. So when Allah has gathered all human beings, all the souls in the pre-eternity, he said, وَإِذَا أَخَذَ رَبُّكَ مِنْ بَيْنِ آدَمَ مِنْ ظُهُورِهِمْ وَذُرِّيَّتَهُمْ وَأَشْهَدَهُمْ عَلَى أَنفُسِهِمْ أَلَسْتُ بِرَبِّكُمْ قَالُوا بَلَى. And he gathered all the souls and he said, am I not your Lord? And they said, قَالُوا بَلَى. Yes, you are. All the souls agreed that you are our Lord. And that's why all people, regardless of the language they speak, regardless of their ethnicities, regardless of their physical appearances, they come from the same eternity. They come from the same pre-eternity, and they share the common feelings of aspiration. And that's why he continues on. We call out to the friend in different languages. We call out to our friends in different languages, but all of us have the same feelings, but different languages. We all have the same feelings. We all have the same aspirations, but we use different languages. And not the ones speaking the same language, but the ones sharing the same feelings understand each other. So not speaking the same language does not mean that you understand each other well. Sharing the same feelings makes us better human beings, and we communicate better. So that's why, as a person, as a human being, we should never try to promote ourselves by taking advantage of other people, or we should never search for mistakes and faults in other human beings. We should always reflect on ourselves. We should always reflect on our spiritual life. We should always look for answers in our spiritual life. And that's why when we meet other people, when we are with other people, we should give value and behave toward everyone equally. And more importantly, we should recognize the essence hidden in human being, the essence behind human being. And now I would like to conclude our session with a dua. May Allah guide us on the straight path, on His Sirat al-Mustaqim, and prevent us from deporting it. And may Allah protect us from misguidance and evil temptation. And may Allah purify our intentions and increase our wisdom and knowledge, inshallah, and grant us the good from His endless bounty, both in this life and the hereafter. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.